completely.
You can't plug the competition like that.
Actually,
you know what? He's on a different time slot on WJHC. We appreciate his audience, and we love you. Anyway, go ahead.
He's completely off the rails on this. He's one hop, skip, and jump away from being a Never Trump guy. Yak in the chat room is saying that he flip-flops on issues, talking about Donald Trump. I don't see that necessarily. I get that he's changed his position on issues.
Like minimum wage, for instance.
Yes. But and he said this in one of the debates, and I agree with him on it. Would you rather have a politician who takes a stance on a specific issue, and it turns out later that his stance on that issue is wrong, but he never changes it? Is that what you really want? Someone who stands by his principle even when he's wrong, after being presented evidence to the contrary or being educated on the topic? I don't think so. And besides that, Gene, is that almost every issue that he's quote-unquote flip-flopped on, he's flipped over to the conservative position on them. So good for him. This is what we wanted, I thought. I thought we wanted to expand the Republican base and teach people about our ideas and get them to come over to us. Guess what? We got a billionaire who is a Republican who used to be pro-choice, who's now pro-life.
Or is he? Who knows by now?
Borders, possibly, but now wants a wall and is going to make the other country pay for it. He's on our side. This is what we wanted.
And here's what we wanted that he's brought. And you touched on it. Let's go into it. Record turnout for Republican primaries when Donald Trump was still in competition.
He's got more votes as a Republican primary candidate he got more votes than any other Republican primary candidate in the history of the Union. The history. No Republican running in a Republican primary has had more votes, and the election's not even over.
Just one example we talk about on the show all the time. South Carolina had 125,000 more people show up to vote, and that's part of the Trump phenomenon. We talk about, the big tent. Conservatives right now are not talking about the big tent. They want a conservative to control the tent, which is the problem. I think when we start talking about big tent, and you know what? Donald Trump said something recently that really got a lot of conservatives upset, saying this is the Republican Party, not the Conservative Party. There has to be a recognition that you can't win without a united party. And if Donald Trump's bringing people in, that's fine. We can talk about unity later on, of course, because conservatives are, not embracing him at this point. He's got 13 more weeks to work on that, by the way. I think it'll happen in time, though. But he's expanded the base, Russ.
100% expanded the base. And here's a comment from our chat room. We call him the resident rhino, Mr. Fairley. He said, wow, heard Mitt Romney say exactly what Russ is saying in the Mitt Romney documentary about changing your mind to become right. Okay, so Mitt Romney did this. Guess what? You voted for Mitt Romney, as did I. I was not a Mitt Romney guy in the beginning. I was not a John McCain guy in the beginning. But at this time in the primary process, I did the right thing, and I got in line. I didn't vote for Barack Obama. And I didn't sit out the election. So, Mr. Fairley and you other borderline Never Trump people, get in the damn line. Get on the Trump train. Join the winning team. We're going to win. Be on the winning team for once.
And I guess this brings me to the last, well, not really the last talk, but here's another thing about the Trump phenomenon. You mentioned he's a billionaire, Russ. But meanwhile, he has gotten more free press, more earned media, more free coverage than any candidate that I can think of. I don't know if he cracked $1 in New York when he won and broke 50% for the first time. He's been doing all this without having to tap a donor base yet, which he can still tap for the general, and he can still self-fund. So it's another part of the phenomenon that we haven't, talked about. But Donald Trump has done all this not only on a populist wave, but he has learned to manipulate media and use it to his advantage. And it's something we're going to talk about later on about, the Trump media monster that we'll talk about at the other end of the show. But we have to remark about that. I mean, Jeb, ! Spent how many millions of dollars? And how much did he pay per vote? It's obscene the amount of money that was thrown at stopping Donald Trump, but that couldn't stop him. And,
the man's unstoppable.
We need to point that out about that, because there's going to be a lot more money coming at him, and hopefully working with him.
And so part of his media strategy to get this earned media is it's brilliant. The guy's brilliant. Believe me when I say this, the things Trump says are not off the cuff. I mean, he goes up and gives speeches with just a few notes on napkins or whatever he uses. Very similar to myself whenever I have to speak in public. I don't like to read a speech. I think that's corny. I think that's terrible.
As you can tell on the show.
So, you know what I mean? You make notes, bullet points, and you expand on each one. And that's what he does. But trust me when I tell you this. Donald Trump is a calculating guy. If you look at news reports and interviews from the last couple of years with Donald Trump, well before the primaries even started, Donald Trump was positioning himself for a run. It's quite clear as you watch what he said within the last year or two. Most of the major flip-flops that people are pointing to did not happen over the past 2 years. They were issues that when he was running around in the 80s with Mayor Ed Koch in New York City, might have taken a position on abortion on the Phil Donahue show, and he switched it since then. I mean, the man is solid as of the last couple of years. So what he's been doing, Gene, is, if you notice, every week or so, he drops a bombshell statement, and everyone thinks, oh my God, this guy is crazy. That's probably not even true what he said. And then the news talks about it for a few days. And then guess what happens? They do research and they find out, it's actually true. Like the latest one before the primaries basically ended was Ted Cruz's father was in a picture with.
Oh, well, let's not go into this. Wait a minute.
Let me talk about this real briefly because this was brilliant. This was
brilliant. Okay, I need to hear this.
This was if, in fact, Cruz was going to hang around any longer, which, by the way, Cruz, you overstood your welcome. Even that last statement you made today was kind of idiotic that you would consider jumping in if the voters, like whatever you thought, did a rain dance or whatever you thought they were going to do to get you back in the race. But you're out. I love you, but you're out. It's a fact, Gene, that Lee Harvey Oswald's own girlfriend wrote some crap back then in a book saying that they knew Raul Cruz. Rafael Cruz. That's me, Master of Race Relations.
There you go. Names. It's all the same.
I believe Raul is American for Rafael.
Oh, okay.
By the way, which is Ted Cruz's actual name?
I will take your word for it.
Yeah.
So this is the part that I didn't miss.
But the truth of the matter is, he is, in fact, in a picture with Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, did he have anything to do with JFK's assassination? I mean, probably not. You can't say for certain.
Listen, nobody can say for certain.
Nobody can say for certain. And Donald Trump did not say he had anything. And he just said it's disturbing that the man is in a picture with Lee Harvey. Gene, if your dad was in a picture with Lee Harvey Oswald, I'd find that slightly disturbing and I'd bring it up on the show. Okay, Donald Trump is brilliant.
Oh my God. Obviously. Obviously, we're talking a little tongue-in-cheek, I hope.
Oh, my God.
But, oh, my goodness.
Gene, whose father is in a picture with Lee Harvey Oswald?
Lots of people's fathers in a picture with Lee Harvey Oswald. We just don't know.
Name one.
We just don't know about it.
Well, the man who's running for president, his father is in one. It's worth looking at.
All right, listen, we're just at about halftime here, and I need to get control of the show. I want to thank everybody for listening to Behind Enemy Lines Radio. And if you are listening right now, you are most likely on www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us. Check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters at BEL_radio. And if you missed any part of this show, that when we broadcast live Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Spreaker, you could check us out on any one of our rebroadcast outlets, including WNJC 1360 AM, Philadelphia's Renaissance Station, WJHC 107.5 FM on the Florida-Georgia line in beautiful Jasper, Florida, K98 Talk, High Plains Talk Radio and Sackheads Media, and ICRN, the Internet's conservative radio network. But if you miss us on any one of those rebroadcast outlets, you can check us out on demand via iTunes, Spreaker, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podbay, Player FM, iHeartRadio, and you can also discover us on Google Play Music. A couple of new things there, Russ. I don't know if you noticed.
Gene, I actually think you make most of that up every time you say it.
I read it right off our website at www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us.
Because I just can't even... half those things I've never even heard of. What are all these things?
Oh, stop it. You hear it every week when you're here.
What is Stitcher?
I'll explain it to you during our commercial break, which we're going to take right now. When we come back, I'm going to give you our interview with Dan Gainor from Media Research Center and NewsBusters. We'll have a little Reverend Al time, and then Russ and I will come back, and we will debate who created Trump. Was it Trump, or was it the media? Gene and Russ, Behind Enemy Lines. We'll be back.
Trump was created on the 6th day.
Right after these brief...
And then there was Trump.
Words. Oh my goodness, Russ is back. So what is Behind Enemy Lines anyway? This is the true story of two friends living in the People's Republic of New York City who work together and have their conversations taped to find out what happens when conservatives stop being politically correct and start getting real. We are Behind Enemy Lines. Watch your wallets. Thursdays at 1 on WNJC, part of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network.
I'm Vito.
And I'm Vito, and we're from WNJC's The Vito and Vito Show.
Every Friday at 1 p.m., you can hear Vito and Vito bring you the perspectives of two college-age millennial conservatives who are committed to defending the principles of free markets, liberty, freedom, and individualism from Brooklyn, New York.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Vito and Vito Show, and check out our blog posts and articles at vitoandvito.com.
Vito and Vito Show every Friday, 1 p.m. on WNJC 1360 AM, Philadelphia's Renaissance Station. In Brooklyn,
it's nothing but the truth.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save.
Your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Behind Enemy Lines. Back on the air. Gene Baradelli, back behind Enemy Lines, joining me on the line right now. Always great to welcome back to the show Dan Gainor from NewsBusters and Media Research Center. Dan, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing well. It's certainly a crazy election season. If nothing else, it's full employment for a while until somebody gets in charge in Washington and locks us up.
Well, while you're cashing the checks, let's talk about some of the news from this week, especially when it pertains to Facebook and the alleged suppression of conservative news on Facebook. We just had Mike Nunez from Gizmodo, the gentleman who broke the story that has been blowing up this week. I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked him. Facebook is a private company. So what if they pick and choose what they want to say is trending?
Well, like I said, it depends on what they represented as doing. I think this goes back to, and I don't claim to be a lawyer, but I think it would go back to what they legally promised. And the problem you've got with a company the size of Facebook is you probably have a bunch of people who have made official statements. They probably got representations on all sorts of different web pages. Who knows? Maybe they've got legal going through every one of those and tracking what everybody's saying. But if you promised that something was being done, let's say electronically, we've got this wonderful algorithm. It's only done by computer, guaranteed to pick the most trending topics. Well, that builds a certain faith. And if you then if you've got then editors going in and dropping out things that are trending and putting in things that are not, that would seem to be something that government would probably take a dim view of and might either fine you or try to pursue some sort of action against you. Again, not being a lawyer, but that I think that would fall under consumer protection issues.
Okay, and we had a little conversation off air, and remarking how this news follows up on the news stories that were coming out previously about Facebook employees talking about whether or not they should be fixing, quote unquote, the election. This cannot be a good PR situation for Facebook right now.
Yeah, Zuckerberg came out and really obviously blasted Trump, even though he didn't say Trump. And so he put himself in the line fire for that. And they have a weekly conversation with employees. And this also, by the way, comes from Gizmodo, so good job on their part. And the employees do an online organizational poll what they should ask about. They're asking what should we do as an organization to stop Trump? Well, that's terrifying. Facebook has reaches a billion people. It's an enormous publisher. It's a publisher on a scale that almost no one in journalism can even fathom. You're talking about, roughly 1/7 of the global population reads Facebook. And, that's where